And good morning, and thank you for being here with us in this ordinary shareholders meeting that we need to do telematically given the circumstances. I want to repeat the message of support and solidarity to all the people who have suffered COVID-19 close. We all know cases of people who have left us before their time, and we know how hard this has been for their families and loved ones. We want to give them encouragement, and many people have also gone through the illness with healthcare professionals that have done and continue to do a great task. We are really thankful to all of them and give them our support so they can have all the necessary resources to continue working in best possible conditions. Also, I want to especially thank the commitment and the effort of the entire human team of CaixaBank, and very especially of the professionals who are in our branches in the first line. They have once again shown their commitment with the entity, with their customers, and with the entire society. Thanks to them, the bank has kept fully operational and has been able to be proactive and provide response when it's needed the most. We live a situation with a lot of uncertainty, but from our entity, we want to convey more than ever a message of trust and hope. Even though the economic and social effects of the pandemic are showing now in the figures that we see, it is also true that we're taking decisive measures and actions from the different environments to avoid the drop of activity and consequences. In CaixaBank, we are ready to give our best and to contribute to the financial recovery, covering the financing needs of our customers, offering help to those who need it the most, and intensifying our social task. So at the end of the day, being loyal to our commitment with customers and with the entire society, the way Caixa has done for over 110 years since its foundation. So before I go into greater detail, I would like to mention expressly that one of the items of today's agenda will be the ratification as member of the Board of Directors of Ms. Maria Verónica Fisas Vergés, and the appointment of Mr. Francisco Javier García Sanz as new member of the board. I want to thank them for their availability to continue serving and joining the board of directors of CaixaBank. I also want to use this opportunity to thank Marcelino Armenter for their devotion and effort in the entity for all the time he's been part of the board. And I would also like to thank Professor Xavier Vives, who leaves the board after many years of great service in this entity. I was saying before that economic figures have started to show that we have a big shock. The growth figures of the first quarter were bad, and unfortunately the ones that we'll see in the second quarter will be even worse in terms of drops. Quantifying precisely how much GDP can drop this year is still very hard. We continue to see a lot of uncertainty given the rhythm and pace at which the social distancing measures can be alleviated, so we need to work with different scenarios. In the best case scenario, both Spain and Portugal, we would be seeing drop of activity higher, much higher than the worst years of the Great Recession, but followed by great recovery in 2021 on the worst case scenarios, and those are more likely as time goes by. We can have two-digit drop in activities and a slower recovery. And it will all depend on the degree of success in the contention of the virus, our capacity to avoid possible outbreaks, and if we have access to a vaccine soon or effective treatment. But it will also depend on the effectiveness of the economic policies that have been now deployed to face this challenge in Spain. As in surrounding countries, we have given more resources to a healthcare system and some policies that mitigate the shock on families and companies in order to sustain income, provide liquidity, and avoid total destruction of employment.
All those measures that go in the correct direction, but at the same time we need a fiscal coordinated effort on European level. So far, the measurements that we announced by Europe has been concentrating in credits, but it's necessary to give mechanisms of cost sharing. Oh, that's the only way that all the countries can give a strong response to the situation. And then you can avoid the division of our common market in the sense that there are different speeds. So France and Germany have reached a very important agreement to achieve this. Then by the ECB, the response has been more immediate with public debt buybacks of the financial system with different measurements and prudential measures. And in that sense, it gives us liquidity, and it also guarantees the possibility to have credits for the households, for the enterprises, and that's essential for the integrity of the Eurozone, so that the ECB gives this guarantee the monetary policy is effective and can reach all the areas of the Eurozone, regardless of the fiscal situation of each of the countries. In CaixaBank, we are facing the situation from a position which is strong. Its commercial strength with leadership of market shares, which is covering most of the enterprises and industry of the country. It has been effective. We have shown our resilience in a situation and surroundings of minimum interest rates, and with a bank which is positioned with growth possibilities in Portugal. We have sustainable core possibilities, also income through our insurances with profitability, which has reached higher levels, over 10% if we exclude the extraordinary costs of restructuring. But this is a strength which is commercial, but also a strength which is financial, with a default level of 3.7, which is 1 point less than last year. 12% of a good cushion of 1.2 points, and 100 million euros of liquidity 31st of March, which is more than double the minimum reservations that are required. Well, this strength we have reached in the financial level meant that in the first quarter of this year we had 400 million euros of reservation for the effects of COVID-19 on risk. It means that it was a responsible decision, and it means a conservative strategy with respect to risk management. It's coherent with the anticipation strategy and prudential strategy that has always been a vision of our bank. And then the proposal of the dividend distribution and allocation, which we are going to propose, is in the same line, and it proves again our responsibility with respect to our society. Board of Directors of the 31st of March decided to change the dividend for 2019, 15 cents to 7 cents gross per share, which means 24.6% of the net profit consolidated, and it means a profitability by dividend of 2.5%. At the same time, the Board of Directors also decided to modify the dividend policy for 2020 and to have a dividend cash not over 30% of net profit as a payout. A higher retention of the result helps us to be stronger, to be able to face the financing needs of clients, and at the same time it gives us the possibility to absorb in a reassured way all the risk that could be produced in a more difficult surroundings and situations if we compare it with just a couple of months ago. Then the share price in this crisis has penalized the stock markets in general and in the financial sector in particular, also CaixaBank. Nevertheless, the relative behavior of our share during these last months in my opinion, also reflects the resilience of our business model and the confidence we have, the trust we have in creating long-term value. My last words are for our social commitment. That is very special in these difficult moments we are facing now. We work to mitigate the social economic effects of the pandemic and to give a response to the needs of the most affected groups of society. We have decided to pay pensions the 15th of each month. We have a priority plan in the branch offices for elderly. We have also advanced the subsidies for unemployment and for the special work plans that have been started by the companies also at the beginning of the month. Also our aid for the people who have the problems because of the loss of salary due to pandemic. Families that need help due to this health crisis, and mortgages, credit payments that can be delayed, and going beyond the vulnerable groups of the society that are in the royal decree. And also for the companies, the credits they need, including through the ICO lines, the ones where we have more than 12 billion in credits. Our volunteer plans have been expanded to help people in a risk situation, risk of exclusion. We have been in contact with our foundation with the program No Household Without Food. And then Vida Caixa, Segur Caixa, with more than 8.5 million have contributed in the constitution of a solidarity fund for health personnel. 700 people have been benefiting from it. At the same time, we are working to try to achieve our targets of the United Nations, our commitment with the environmental issues and sustainability, volunteer programs, social programs, and cooperation with Obra Social of our foundation, which is our main shareholder. To finish my speech, I would like to have a particular dedication to our consultative board of shareholders, which, amongst many other things, improves our relationship with all of you. I would like to thank them for their task and for the work done. And all of you, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, shareholders of the bank, thank you for your confidence, for your trust in us. We are facing an extraordinary situation. I can really promise you that CaixaBank and all the employees will continue working today more than ever to fulfill our mission, which is nothing else than to contribute to the well-being, financial well-being of our clients and progress of the whole of the society. Thank you very much for continuing with your trust, with your support, and for being here today. I give the floor to our CEO, Gonzalo Gortázar.
Señor Presidente,
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, shareholders, good morning, bon dia. First of all, I would like to add my condolences for all the shareholders who are participating online remotely, who have lost their loved ones, friends, and wish them the best health and recovery to all those that are still ill or still suffering from this disease. And without further ado, I would like to start with the details of our financial year 2019. Financial year 2019 has been marked, affected by a very positive business evolution with gains, important gains in market share, with an impulse of projects we had started, we had designed in our strategic plan. In 2019, we have been able to advance with decision in all those projects. We have had a financial result which has been important, affected by a decision of a reorganization of our pension plan, with more than 2,000 people who left us in a volunteer way after an agreement as dialogue and negotiations with the unions and union representatives. And And that's also an important key of 2019, how we finished this year with a really huge financial strength that allows us now that we did our homework, we did what we had to do. So now we have really a strong bank that could be able to face a situation in more difficult circumstances. And unfortunately, that is what happens more than we even expected. So this confidence in ourselves, this self-confidence to face the future. I talked about the first key of the year, which is the position of leadership that has been reinforced of a general situation of better market share. We forget it maybe because we are suffering so many things, but the daily life of banking business is to have more and more income. And that is what we achieved last year with a lot of work, with a huge effort of all the employees. We have achieved it again to reach a situation which is very favorable. As you can see in this slide, we are projecting the long-term savings. There we have market share we have pension funds, investment funds, and also insurance savings. We have savings insurance, excuse me, there we have 3.3 points more. And we see 300, there we have 28% in our savings insurance. There we have our pension plans also has improved. Also in our funds in 2020 we see that we have 45% more. And we see also a strong increase as a reaction to the needs we have seen in the enterprises due to the pandemic, of course. And we have also been able to have a high level of cards, credit cards, so 12 months, and then the first quarter of 2020, but 12 months of 2019, that shows us a good orientation of our bank. And of course it is due to the huge effort and work of our employees. And we can see the big magnitudes of the balance sheet. Here you see the credit portfolio has increased, clients have increased, I think with a huge strength, more than what happened on the market in 2019. Credit portfolio we see in 12 months 2.4%, and in the first quarter of this year, in only one quarter, 1.7% increase, and it will continue to grow in this quarter thanks to the assets we have, and also thanks to the credits we are now granting to our clients. Big growth last year, 6.9%, last year 340 million, and this first quarter we see this growth has suffered a little bit. It has been reduced a little bit due to the drop of the markets, which has meant that the resources of clients has went down to 2%. Then it increased a little bit, 1% again. This is it is a result of our model, a model of helping our clients to plan and to invest according to their profile and needs, and that functions. It works well, our model, our strategy, and year after year, month after month, we are gaining more market share. I've also talked about our project 2019. We have advanced a lot. We have made progress in reconfiguring of our branch office network. Stores, for example, has reached the 7% of the project, with a reduction of the rest of the urban branch offices. Now we are achieving a better experience for our clients in branch offices that are better equipped, better developed. It is better for the relationships with the enterprises, private banking, and so on and so on. Digital clients are increasing 5.6 percentage points, as you can see, over the year. And also throughout the year we have seen the remote banking remote in touch is also increased. This is a model which of course increases a lot with the situation we are in now. It shows the capacity, the possibility for the future. Our employees have continued working with their laptops at home office and so on, which has allowed us to face these difficult times with a higher operational capacity. And we are still present in more than 2,000 municipalities in Spain. We have a high in financial inclusion. Then profitability of the year has been in general positive. It has, as always, lights and shadows, of course. As we know, we've seen that 7.2%, which maybe looks small, but with negative figures, even 3 negative, it shows us that it was difficult to reach. So this -1, and then the operational cost is growing, which means that we have to do a lot there. We have to rebalance this income and costs relationship. So this ratio, so in 2020, operational costs must be looked after very carefully in 2020 so that they do not grow more. We have made progress in that sense. Then allocations, provisions, 2019 has been reduced. Cost of risk, the provisions we have to do for a cost of risk based on the average of our portfolio is also under control. So profitability would have increased 20%, but we decided to make a very important investment ourselves in the persons, also the people that have left, and also the ones that have stayed to have a better future. So we had this impact of the social plan of the more than 2,000 employees that left us, which I would like to thank for their dedication, for their work. And that means that due to that social plan, there is a reduction. Then the profitability on own resources, on equity, is 7.7%. If we wouldn't have had this decision of restructuring the social plan, it would have been 10.8, which are levels, in my opinion, which are proper. So it means that, of course, we will go on, we will continue to work on it to try to face the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, which will be negative. We are also talking about the strength with which we have closed the year, which makes me feel very satisfied, as I've said before, that we have done our homework.
In order to see what we have in front, NPL ratio lies under 3%, lower than our competitors' levels, with a high level of coverage, 55%, that we have increased up to 58% in this first quarter. Fabulous liquidity position in 90 billion, and a CET1 solvency ratio, our own equity, that is 12% above our competitors, and that also allows us to face a situation such as the one that we have now, with a lot of confidence and capacity to do so much for our customers and help society with the recovery. I wanted to finish with this. We are prepared, and not only that, we're already doing things. In these 2.5 months, since halfway through March, we have given 344,000 requests for delays. We have received and allocated to credit lines with the legal guarantees 143 requests, also moratoriums of renting and rental aid for many families. We have advanced pensions and subsidies to 3.2 million people during these 2.5 months. And these are just some examples of the preparation and capacity that we have to respond and with this situation. And we have done this thanks to the employees of the group, who have had an extraordinary behavior I feel so proud about. And I want to thank them all for their work and commitment, both for the results of last year and also what they're doing now and how they're doing it throughout 2020 to face this humanitarian crisis. And with this, as I was saying, we have the commitment and the responsibility of continue helping the economy being operative, being accessible. We have been here in the worst moment of the crisis with 90% of our branches open, providing service to society and doing what I was saying before, doing in terms of moratoriums and advancing pensions, ICO loans, and we continue having the same commitment to continue doing this in the next few months and years. Thank you very much.